Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on back after what was an explosive game one from Derek Gaming to take the dub against Supernova. We're going into things. Smets, you were
Wait,
looking at this game.
wait. Did you just
Uh-huh.
say a dare one? I went to go get some food at the last minute. I thought that was Supernova's game. Are you talking? Are we sure we watched the same thing? Are you sure?
Well, Smets, it's been a long time, but objective bounties and barons.
Oh, well,
You blink and you miss it, right? Like,
that'll do it.
it
Yeah.
was just one of those games where it's just like, wait a second, hold on. You blink and there pops off, and you see with their draft, they set themselves up for conditions to do such a thing.
That's true. I mean, when I think of Azir and Jarvan, I think of really quick barons, especially alongside the Jinx. I mean, these champions can really mow through objectives super quickly. On the other side, I actually really like Supernova's draft because I really like the TF and the Aatrox together. That lockdown really sets up for Aatrox reset in teamfights. Just refresh the ult. And then alongside the Ziggs, we saw it a few times where Ariandel would gold card BMFX, and then Psycho's ult would land, and she's just immediately dead. But as we saw, it got harder and harder to execute that as the game went on.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty big mistake for BMFX to avoid taking the cleanse in this game for that reason as well. You really do need some way to not get killed instantly off of a Twisted Fate gold card, but you know, after watching the last team fight, maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe he's just on another level entirely. The healer definitely worked out there.
I mean, Choo Choo, he was all aboard the CC train, dude. He was not moving anywhere, all aboard. But, man, there was a lot of chaos that did happen there, and you're talking about where the cleanse could have come in handy. I do want to throw our attention over to the replay that we have of the first Baron. That is a big example of when the cleanse would have been handy with the CC train that was unleashed as whew, it was rough here as question if you could just
Yes, sir.
guide us through
So,
this.
20-minute Baron, as we can expect from this core of Azir, Jarvan, Jinx. But the TF ult is pretty big and just gets all 5 seen. And TF sets up the flank, and they kill Enigma immediately with Psycho's ult and J4 engage. And BMFX has a really hard time getting into the fight because he has heal instead of cleanse. Ariandel just crushes on him, and she just gets popped, and it's almost a full wipe other than Blossoms for SM.
Yeah, BMFX sort of zoned out by the Cataclysm as well. Couldn't get past that little corridor. Was completely locked out. So, yeah, he really did struggle in that one, which is a pretty big deal considering what BMFX is actually capable of doing when that doesn't happen to him in these team fights, for sure.
Yeah, but what if I told you that they dared to do Baron again? What if I told you that when you blinked, that is the dare that they went for? We have a second replay here to show a major thing that kind of just turned around all the momentum. A second Baron was attempted, and Smets, it was a thing of glory for him.
Round 2! Fight! We've got Dare in the pit again, this time spotted out by a control ward instead of the Twisted Fate ult. That's mostly because Twisted Fate ult wasn't actually available anymore. They had already used it to try to get a pick just before. The members of Supernova were off going for recalls, so they definitely did not expect this one to happen. But the way that this ended up playing out, BMFX and Enigma were not on the same page as everyone. They were like, okay, we got the Baron, we're gonna leave. You know, all these melee champions are like, hey, what are you, we can't do this, we're stuck in the pit, come on guys, we gotta try something. But, yeah, Dare, I think Prussian was talking about this team fight, like, they actually could have potentially won this team fight had they stayed in the pit and gone for it, but they decided to take the exit path.
That's true. I mean, Supernova recalling there like that was super illegal, especially just how discoordinated it was. TF ult was just blown, and Ariandel didn't even use it to push out top lane. He didn't even use it to teleport at all. And then after that, that disconjunction basically just let Dare rush Baron, and they used that Baron later on to just completely blow away the game.
Just nothing but a hard agree on that, man. And it's a split decision, but hey, Dare was able to pick up the dub, but it was one more team fight that came after that that sealed the deal. And honestly, we were kind of beyond ourselves. We were watching this and we were seeing TF. We saw the Destiny pop, and then TF goes so far into the back. We can see how it starts here.
Yeah.
And you can see Supernova's thoughts going into it.
Yeah, Ariandel, he finds BMX on the side, and he pops his ult, but he's pretty much in Africa here, and he doesn't actually land the gold card, and he has a really hard time rejoining with his team. And then since TF, there's just nothing stopping them from BMFX obliterating the Supernova frontline. And just like that, Supernova turns into Super Noobs really fast.
Oh god!
Oh man, the classic nickname for them. It's tough, but yeah, you're absolutely right. The new roster here for Supernova completely crumbles on one single play. That's the difference in the compositions, right? We saw them have really solid play up until this point. They executed very well on the Twisted Fate picks, and when you're up against a teamfight composition with this Azir, with this Jinx, it's really, really easy to give them an edge and have it just completely blow out of proportion with the Jinx get excited, passive resets, and everything just blowing up in your face. That's exactly what happened right there. And unfortunately, they didn't get all of the Baron members from before. Both of those members still had it. It was enough to end the game.
Really and truly. And I want to go ahead and pull up one more graphic that we have in store for us that is going to be aptly named the "They were winning until they lost" graphic here. As it tells a story, and it tells the story of what your confusion was when we came back onto the desk. You
This
see
is
it
so
right here.
funny.
Look at the gold difference. Zoom and enhance, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Canyon.
that little tiny blue right at the end. That's really all it takes right there. The objective bounties, the shutdowns, and the Nexus, all told in one steep incline.
Yeah, I really do want to highlight something. This was a 31-minute game, right? There were a couple of things that we did like. We're going into another game coming up here. And one of the things I will say that I really did like about Supernova that they did, and I think we all said this when we were going there, they started off very slow, but they played very intelligently in the mid-game, it felt like. They were taking advantage of TF. They were really taking advantage of the fact this Jinx did not have cleanse. But it felt like they were a little bit too slow for the pace of what Dare was trying to continuously push it towards. And eventually, Dare did catch up.
That's true, and that is something that we see time and time again with Jinx, is that this champion can just really abuse shutdown mechanics, actually. Ziggs can too, but Jinx, I mean, if you take one tower, you just get another tower, you get another tower, and then suddenly the game's over. The same thing happened with Dare versus Radiance, where even though Dare was super far behind, BMFX had his Jinx, and they get one kill in a team fight, and then Jinx resets, and then she just kills everyone, because that champion is completely balanced and fair. So, pretty unreal in my mind.
Yeah.
Can be the janitorial service you need.
Yep. I like the draft strategy of the Ziggs trying to attack that champion, but it doesn't work as well if you don't get the Leona alongside it, because then you don't have the same lethality in the lane with the Zenith Blade going over minions, which is the main advantage over Nautilus, right? They do very similar things, but it's just that Leona's a bit stronger in that lane, and you can activate the Ziggs bomb and all of the damage that comes alongside that a little bit earlier. So I would have liked to see the Leona. Other than that, I think the strategy was really good. They had some really solid pick potential. It just, it was at a 9. Let's crank it up to a 10 next time. Try to counter the Jinx a little bit better.
Yeah, and also I would really like to see a Xin Zhao not full clear next game, if possible.
If possible, we'll have to see. I mean, both junglers did find themselves having a couple of struggles. Xin Zhao did the full clear at the very beginning, and the tempo was fairly slow. And then, of course, we had the BM replay that we did see with Limo, just constantly going back in the mid lane, like, I'm gonna make it work, but unfortunately didn't find that moment. So a little bit of chaos, a little bit of nerves. We got to take into fact that these are players who have very little competitive experience here. No academy players or anything are inside of these amateur rosters. And I mean, they're definitely coming into this game one, and there's a lot on the line. These are two amateur teams looking to, see if they can pick up a big win that will matter tremendously for them inside this group.
Really big movement can happen in this group. We already saw their other group mates in the last series as well. If that's any indication of how competitive this is going to be, I think Dare and Supernova really have to buckle down and make sure they don't throw any games or keep the comebacks rolling if you're Dare trying to make that 2-0.
Absolutely. We'll have to see. Does Dare take it to a 2-0 over the Heart of Amateur in Supernova? Or is this where Supernova begins their comeback? Casters, take it away.
Alrighty, we are back, ready to go for game 2. It felt a little bit slow, but that last team fight was very, very fun to watch, and showing Dare pop off at the very end. We know Supernova has to come out with something here in game number 2, and of course, they chose blue side, so they will have lion's share of the picks.
Yeah, and that first pick is super important. The fact that Jinx got first picked in that particular game, I think shows a lot about the strength of the champion. Like Prussian says, it's completely fairly balanced champion there, yes. Well, we'll have to see. Like I said, Psycho plays that champion at a very high level as well. So Dare might have to ban it themselves. And keep in mind, they also banned the Caitlyn on the blue side. So if they opt to ban the Jinx, that's 2 bans that they need to keep in mind for themselves.
So much to think about, and I'm also curious just about the tempo of the game, right? Because at this point, I think it's been established, Dare are not going to move from their slow, evenly paced early game. If they can help it, they will continue this management, right? They like the late game. It's on Supernova to push that tempo, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Dare is concerned right now, there's no need to fix what ain't broke. Any losses they might take going up to the late game aren't losses. All they are is a time extension. Eventually, they'll hit the late game, and then they'll win that one team fight. We've seen it plenty of times. If you follow Dare through the OQs, it doesn't matter what champion they run. They played Ziggs, Kai'Sa, Jhin. Even on picks like Kai'Sa and Jhin, they still scaled into the late game and then picked that one big team fight at the end there to end all team fights. So for Supernova, that's got to be back of your head, right? And you heard from the analyst desk, the draft was fine. The draft did what it needed to do. The problem, I think, is a little bit about the pacing of it, right? The fact that the first Destiny that came out of Ariandel was level 10. You got it at level 6. You need to be pushing the pace a little bit faster there, punishing earlier. And regardless what Supernova draft, even if they draft the Jinx composition, I still want to see them take advantage of their early mid-game strength, because I think that much they still have going for them going into game 2 here.
Yeah. Now, I would like to make one correction there. I would say the first completed Destiny called down was at level 10.
True.
Ariandel did try to head to the bot lane. Unfortunately, Enigma cut them off, and I have to give another look there as well. Ariandel did do what a TF is supposed to do, tried to TP bot and everything, but Enigma on this Azir counter pick, which did surprise us as well. It was, I don't want to say interesting again, I don't want to put any words into anyone's mouths, but to run the Azir to actually force the TF to not be able to TP is something that I think is not usually seen as often.
Yeah, and I don't really think you picked the Azir specifically to mess with the Twisted Fate Destiny there. There are better options for that. You used it to buy space, and we saw even that last Emperor's Divide that came through to buy space from BMFX. That's exactly why you pick it. And even the turrets, the Azir passive as well. That's not something we always talk about, but it was something that Dare was using to control the pace of the game, really slow things down. You got turrets, great. We'll just raise another one right here, and then we'll play around that. I especially liked that when they were using that to push aggressively there. They were willing to sack the turret, but it bought time. It allowed BMFX to farm up and become that teamfight monster.
It's going to be a good time, so now we go ahead, get into draft here shortly, and you already went over what needs to be banned away, what kind of has to be. It's the staples. It's saying, hey, get this off the table or you're not going to have a fun time. Have to wait and see what they do. On the other side, considering the champions that we have seen, I'm curious to see who's going to get pinched this time, right? Most notably, the Hecarim was taken away. Well, the Xin Zhao also looked pretty good. It wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination and still allowed the same access, I believe. Or no, I'm thinking about it opposite. Brain, I think, split. Again,
Limo was in the J4.
Yeah, about 14 fuses in my head just like burst right there, all at the same time. That is like the most unfortunate thing I've ever had happen. But I'm curious because again, Limo has not been able to be engaged as powerfully as before, right? It was a slow buildup, but Limo before was such a force to be reckoned with. Do you think he is going to get that this time around?
Here's the problem. What are you going to do? Unless you're throwing all the bans at Limo, and even then, I'm not sure if it's going to be sufficient, right? Hecarim, spoiler, isn't Limo's favorite champion. It's just what the team's making Limo play here. Limo's got a whole bunch of other champions he can fall back onto. J4 just happens to be the one that's allowing them to set up these engages easiest here, having that Cataclysm lock people in. Now we are into picks and bans, and interestingly enough, Limo's side, Dare's side that's banning the Hecarim and the Lulu here, they're leaving both Caitlyn and Jinx open, and I know they haven't played Caitlyn before, but they might just pick it up now.
Yeah, it's going to be the chance that they have, so we do have the graphic swaps. There we go. I was just double checking that because again, sorry. I thought the last like 20 just blew in my head right there. That would have been horrible. But looking here, I do like the J4 ban, respect ban, and that's what we were talking about, right? Limo starting to get targeted a little bit, I say, and Dare rightfully so ban the Jinx. Don't want to deal with it. BMFX had a fantastic time. You can't let Psycho have that same quality of game. That's what's left up. Caitlyn picked up.
Yeah, and while BMFX has shown a reluctance to play the Caitlyn within Dare at least, Psycho has no such compunctions. They're more than happy to pick up that Caitlyn. Lux is still available and on the table here, and for Dare, I feel like you almost have to pick up the Lux. We've seen what happens if you leave that Caitlyn Lux combo open, and I just don't know if Pseudo and Psycho have any sort of answer to that pickup. For now, though, the Ziggs once again is coming out. Hey, you know what? It can match into the Caitlyn a little bit, but if you want to pick that Ziggs, like this on the AD, maybe something like a Leona, something that can set up a little bit for the Ziggs, perhaps a little bit easier.
Yeah, follow with what the analyst was talking about, right? I think Smacks hit it right on the head. And like you said just there, following along, Leona, hopefully. However, following through, Limo goes, well, you know what? I saw the effectiveness. Maybe I'll take it for myself. The Xin Zhao is hovered to follow up. Now Supernova have that chance. Are you going to match and give Caitlyn a good matchup before Dare takes it away? Or are you going to try and match the jungle, right? You have a couple options to work with.
Yeah, and for Becco has some interesting picks in their back pocket as well. They played a Nidoey game to come through, so maybe they're willing to let that through. The Lux, though, as we were talking about, right? It's just so oppressive. If it's up, you take it. Even if it's a Ziggs Leona combo, right? You're still okay with that. As long as you can dodge those Zenith Blades, you're fine. But for now, they're not going to let the jungle picks go through. There's no need to do that. We can save our solo lane picks. They pick up that ever-flexible Lee Sin.
And granted, of course, since you saw the first series of the day here on the Academy stream, the Lux could go mid. It is a minor flex champion. It's just obviously much more prevalent in that bot lane. Now, on the other side, Dare kind of giving a little bit of a nod over to Fire Theft. If this is actually picked up for Censor, this would be a bit of a gauntlet thrown down as well here. Dare probably going to take away a few of the champions that the Camille can't deal with. But locking that one in gives a great backline access once again.
Yeah, and you know what? At this point, I'm not convinced that Censor is ever going to pick for lane. Censor almost always picks for the team. And this is the Camille Ziggs combo we're talking about, right? You lock down the Caitlyn and lock down the Lux. Depending on who they send mid as well, probably going to be a squishy. It's a great combo that we've seen come through. And for Dare now, they're looking to pick up their support as well as their mid lane. Or, hey, potentially, you can always flex that Zig into the mid lane as well and just pick up your bot lane, though there's not a lot of AD carry stuff, so unlikely. And for Supernova, you're looking for your solo lanes like we talked about. You know what can counter that Camille. You know what you're thinking of. So as soon as they show that support pickup here, I expect to see Supernova move to try and punish that Camille.
They have to, and that's why Dare is also a little bit worried. You saw the Poppy pick, Poppy ban come out right away saying, listen, we know it's a counter. It's very obviously a counter, so got to take it off. It's a forced ban here, so what's Dare going to throw up on that top side as well? Set seemed okay. GP, there we go. We kind of forgot about it in game number 1. I believe it was left open all the way through draft as well, so saying, hey, no poke for Fire Theft, no chance to try and bully that lane out. Have to wait and see what is brought up. Supernova waiting for one more. They focus in the mid lane. What more are they going to go for? There's multiple options. I think Orianna is also a very interesting one, but doubling up on AP at that point might be a bit rough in that way. The options here, they do target that support, so not a span away, but not the Leona.
Yeah, that's interesting. It seems like the preference for these teams is that Nautilus. I mean, it's more reliable engage. It's a point and click, right? There's no shot that you miss that if you can click on them whatsoever. Whereas with the Leona, your Solar Flare, yeah, that can sometimes go wide. And if you just land the slow, not the stun, sometimes it's not quite sufficient to follow up here. But the Twisted Fate, I honestly don't think it's that big a ban. It's not really going to mess up Enigma's day. Enigma doesn't play a ton of Twisted Fate anyways. Can still play it, but just generally doesn't. And in terms of setup here, it's not the Leona we're talking about, but the box is still a very strong zoning tool to set up that Hextech, the Ziggs Hextech Bomb.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm back on the name.
It's
Mega
okay.
Inferno Bomb, there we go.
Yeah. I was actually wondering where the Hextech came from. I was like, it's a good combo name, the Hextech Bomb, right? That Hextech Ultimatum with the Mega Inferno Bomb. It is a great combo. But you also have to look at the Lee Sin, right? We talked about it over and over again. The Lee Sin is such a potent pick. You do have to worry about that. So Blossoms going with the all-around set. That is going to be the Renekton in the top lane. And then, of course, the blind pick Rise. Supernova going in a little bit on the rotations. Hey, TFS off the table, cool. We'll take the other teleport around.
Yeah, and I like what Supernova have drafted, right? It reminds me of the Winthrop game back in our first game of the night, where you draft winning lanes almost across the board here, and you just try and punish. Granted, the Rise blind pick here is punishable, but like I said, Arundel's great at playing, those sort of losing lanes, can move around. Arundel, I see you shaking your head. We were aware that the Vel'Koz was a Enigma special here, and that was why I was kind of alluding to the fact that Rise might not have a comfortable matchup here.
You know how the names of the ultimates slipped your mind? It completely slipped my mind. There was zero. Like, I was looking, I was thinking, what could go up against the Rise? It's the Vel'Koz, right? It's the Vel'Koz. And I feel this actually gives a lot more priority to actually where Censored throws on the Hextech Ultimatum. Because if you take a look at this, the Wombo combo got even worse if Supernova are caught out.
Yeah, kind of, right? Like, they're all potential targets to come through that you can mess up. And for Supernova, ideally, you're not letting them get to that point, right? They want to just flat out win the side lanes. And Ariandel, as much as possible, you're calling in jungle support from Beko here, or you're roaming around to get your side lanes rolling. And against most teams, I'd say that's a great tactic. It's a great trick. We just saw it succeed earlier tonight. But against Dare, like I said, right? Like, any losses they take before the last team fight, it's just an extension on the timer. It doesn't change with this composition. Ziggs, Vel'Koz, they both scale up quite nicely again. And with just the sheer amount of poke they can put down, I feel like Supernova, they're going to end up falling to a situation where, okay, we won the early game, and then they're going to fall into the position where we have to land bindings by Pseudo's Lux. If you don't get the bindings, we're going to struggle to force the engages. We're going to walk into them, and then Dare will just win that one late game team fight if it's a 5v5.
There's so much to think about, and I love that fact that you brought up again that late game. Pseudo might end up being the only one that we can really watch for, unless Beko can pull off a ridiculous insect here, which even that is very difficult, right? Look at this, the sectioning that can pull off. A flay, a hook, a crescent guard to even knock you out of that flying motion. Hextech Ultimatum even can be used as a disruptor. At the very tail end, of course, BMFX is like, okay, maybe I can use the satchel. Maybe I use my one getaway. I like it. I like the understanding that Supernova pulling and receiving an unfortunate hand and seeing like a stronger hand almost come out here. The read is good. So taking a look here, where do Supernova start? We talked about the fact that, yeah, the plans might not be in their hands for the late game still. Pseudo doesn't want to be the only priority at the end. Where do they start in the early game then? Where do they start getting this composition off the ground?
With your strong side lanes, Lux, Caitlyn here into the Ziggs Thresh. That is a lane that you can bully out, especially early on before Ziggs really picks up that lost chapter, the tier, to be able to sustain and just wave clear. And definitely top side, you pick this Renekton as a counter to Camille. And I've said it before, I don't really like picking Renekton as a counter for the most part, because generally there are champions who can do whatever you're trying to do better. You're a generalist and you're trying to win your lane early and then get the ball rolling, help influence your other lanes. That's your goal there. So play to your strong side lanes. And for Beko specifically, drop by mid every once in a while. Ariandel is going to get lonely. And it gets rough when you're lonely as a mage against a Vel'Koz there who outranges you and can just poke you at will. If they can get that snowballing, if they get a big enough lead, specifically if they can get 2 turrets before the 14-minute mark, I think they should be far ahead enough at that point to actually close out before BMFX becomes that late game monster.
Well, we'll have to see how the teams play, as again, we are here into Game 2 of Series 2 here on the Academy broadcast. We are excited to bring you what could be Dare Gaming attempting a 2-0 over Supernova and moving on to the second round. Supernova, if they do lose here, would move down into the second bracket and be forced to play against what could potentially be a very, very vengeful, immortal AoE.
Oh my goodness. I know it doesn't relate to this particular game, Orbital, but if Supernova end up in the loser's bracket, once again, Supernova and AoE have history in that last year in every single Tier 2 tournament, they were in the same group stages. It'd be hilarious if they met down then. I'm sure for Supernova right now, they don't find it funny. They want to win this. And let's not forget that on paper, this was supposed to be one of the closest matches out of all the groups here. And so far, it kind of looked that way, right? Supernova had a very strong early game, and they've got a great carry in Psycho. I want to see Psycho be able to pop off, be able to do something, and this time at least he's on an 80 carry, not that mage that perhaps maybe he's not quite as comfortable.
Taking a look at the start once again, both junglers with the early games say, all right, let's play it smart, let's play it slow. Standard start, solo clears. Blossoms, though, let's go ahead and lay down some damage. Psycho saying, all right, well, if you want to do that to the support, I'll do it to the other APC in the bot.
Yeah, so the BMFX returned as good as he got there. The carries in the bot lane traded even. And for Blossoms, I like that they're stepping up and playing a little aggressively, but they do have to be careful. Once again, Limo not paddling towards that Ziggs lane here. We're not seeing level 2 cheese coming in either. So if you're a little bit too aggressive, you push out too far, in a minute or so, when Beko gets down there, you could be in a very, very bad position.
Something to watch for as we are starting to see the lanes kind of pan out that we were thinking, right? Fire Theft in the top side, hoping to get an early trade off on Censored in the mid lane. Of course, Ariandel forcing the wave under the tower, was able to take out, I think, 1 or 2 minions. That's why you see a very, very slight and minimal discrepancy there. Options are being checked out. You gotta see, again, the early clears from the junglers, everything by the books.
Yep, I feel like we might be in for another quiet start to the game here, Orbital. Last game, the junglers kind of went opposite from each other, so we didn't really get to see anything till, what was it, about the 7-minute mark coming through, and this time, looks like Supernova caught vision of Limo, so they know roughly, we saw the ping come out here, that Supernova hold the knowledge advantage. The question is, what can they do with it? They've already got the bot scuttle, and it looks like Beko is going to try and contest the top one as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit different challenge, but we do see a hook on the bot side, and that's a pull under the tower. Oh, the combination is just too real, but can they fire back? No, the last tower shot did not go through. I thought it did. Pseudo able to escape death in a very scary situation.
Yeah, and with the luck shield as well, Psycho able to get out of a kind of rough situation there. Unfortunately, no action topside though. Censor taking a massive beating here.
Yep, and Limo showing face, just saying, hey, Fire Theft, you can't look for a dive or anything like that. Stay away from that excessive play in the top.
Oh, bro, to a certain degree, this is what happens when you buy and pick the Camille. Oh, Censor.
Oh, wait, no, that's just... Oh, the shield. The shield came up, and this might be the return. Limo taking advantage of the situation. Call it luck, call it skill, call it whatever you want. It's first blood to Dare Gaming.
I didn't catch how low the health went. By the time I looked, it was 27 health. But, I mean, okay, did you get to see how low it is? I mean, you can see it's basically non-existent, and I can't believe that was called. Like, I don't believe that was bait. That had to be censored overstaying and getting the punish. All
right, so we're leaning more towards luck there, that the Camille was able to survive. Either way, once again, Dare Gaming taking a little bit of an extension, right, in one of the lanes. First blood to the top side, especially with how Censored has been kind of getting punished. It's not so much a lead as it is breathing a little bit of buoyancy into a possible drowning lane.
Yeah, because again, the point I'm trying to make was Censored blind picking this, right? And it's not like it's not a punishable lane. Censored hasn't exactly been the strongest of laners either. You pick this for the combo, not for your laning here. So you need to make sure that Censored doesn't fall so far behind that they can't do their job. And hence the pathing we saw. Great play on it. Beko on this side, sure, I think they got the scuttle, but now they're trying to make good by returning the favor here.
Oh, Censored being greeted by Beko. A nice dash forward. Q now is going to finish. Nice body block. I don't think it's going to be enough. Beko, fortunately, losing flash and not burning Censored.
Censored playing with fire this game in the top lane, even turning back a little bit on Beko, and all this attention, all this time spent topside, Supernova's losing tempo on the bottom side. Limo gonna pick up this dragon complete for free. You see the missing pings come down in the bot lane, but there's nothing you can do. You've already committed topside, and Censored even got a base off to safety.
And I think this goes into the overarching theme of Supernova trying to compensate for what happened in game number 1, right? Beko trying to be a bit more proactive on the map, looking for those ganks, looking for those fights. But it does carry that gamble risk, right? Dare Gaming knew that was probably going to happen, or at least was able to call it out, and responded appropriately. This is, I will say it once again, feels like a by-the-books standard early game for a team that is able to punish those attempts around the map.
Yeah, and we say it's a standard play, but if you look at last game, it was Supernova calling all the shots, right? So it is a little bit surprising we're seeing Dare be the more proactive ones here. But look at the CS in the lane. Censored, we already know, was down. BMFX is also kind of down because of the way Blossoms has been roaming, helping Limo secure a lot of the vision to make these plays here. And so for Supernova, they're not falling behind. They are still in a good position to make proactive plays when they wish to. If anything, it's got to still be at the back of their mind, hey, going even against Dare Gaming, that's a risky prospect here.
It's not one that they want to have to think about, right? It's not one that they want to have to sit and digest for moments. So getting out into the next couple minutes, we're assuming that it's going to be fairly quiet across the side. Camps are now coming back up. The junglers have each made their entrance kind of into this game, and Ariandel in the mid lane, of course, farming up fairly well. Has lost Chapter with that tier in tow, is going to pick up his own blue buff. Enigma's been spamming away.
Yeah, and now Ariandel, basically you're just on wave clear duty unless Beko is looking mid here. I want to see Ariandel just clear that wave mid and roam up to the side lanes, try and impact things here. Fire Theft, there's a big lead top. If you send 3-man on a dive there, it's a pretty easy kill. They're taking a pit stop to take Herald here, but they've also called Pseudo up. Okay, now Pseudo's going back down. So if they want a 4-man dive this, that's super cool.
Not sure if they want to take that risk as well, and so, like you said, they could, but they're not going to, and it's well known at this point, too, that, hey, the build has been taken quite obviously. You already saw Limo cheating into the side, and the responses have been pretty solid, but I also want to point out the vision, because right now Limo was able to make it in. Oh, great dodge on the side. Can't get the tag, though. Psycho able to divert a loss of HP. Still playing with fire, though. Says, hey, I'm still going to walk around. I don't think you have the cooldown timer. Trying to aggress on me. Censored, though, says, hey, Echo, you're not allowed in our jungle right now. Yes, our jungler can roam. You're not allowed to.
Yeah, and Censored is 2 levels up here. Beko, if he does get caught, is going to die. Don't forget, there is still that ward in that bush here. And Beko is spotted. Goodbye.
Yep, disintegrated. Hextech Disintegration. Another new name that I just came up with. I will totally coin that one.
I'm just throwing Hextech on everything now.
You started it, not me. Beko, of course, though, sticking around a little bit too long did pay the price. It's only a single kill, though. Not much else taken on the map.
Yeah, but Beko is starting to fall behind. Level 5 right now, actually behind the supports on the map, or at least behind his support. Blossoms is also level 5, but should be taking 6 soon once they get back to lane. And as a jungler, you don't want to do that, especially for the Lee Sin. You were supposed to be the one to make those plays, especially on the mid lane. If Beko is down, it's not just affecting himself, it's affecting Ariandel's ability to be able to play out this lane.
Looking at it now, Ariandel hoping to see the bot lane, but again, Beko just like, listen, I got the Rift Herald, I lost my life, let's get some plays. Gonna go ahead, push down, probably only 2. I don't think they can follow up on it. Fire Theft getting a visit from Blossoms as the roams start occurring. Mid lane, once again, Ariandel holding it down, about to hit 100 CS, so scaling up fairly well. Bot lane taken very, very low. BMFX, we talked about this, right? Being left alone on a little bit of an island. A nice pop back, though. The teleport came in. Oh, the laser comes right back. So Enigma paying the price for that TP. Psycho, power shot, and no one falls. Everyone allowed to go home safely.
But the TP did its job here. They've saved, they've bought time on this turret for now. Well, maybe it didn't do the job. They're still forcing this here. And yeah, against the Ziggs, the wave clear is good. Vel'Koz's wave clear is good. And that whole bottom play came about because Blossom showed top. When they dropped Herald, it was supposed to be, oh, let's just take plates and roll with it. But the moment they saw Blossom's top, BMFX was not safe under turret. 3-man dive was what they were looking for there. And BMFX did amazingly well to survive it.
Huge credit, right? And that's something that we've also seen in his previous games, kind of watched throughout his system. Even when he does fall to those ganks, it always feels like he has a way back into this game, right? Always has a way back into dropping a bunch of damage. And this time around, it's just, he's allowed to do it without dying. So that's going to open up the dragon here. I was curious to see how long it would take for Lima to actually come by, because none of Supernova is able to fight back. So the punishment for the bottom lane tower dive not going off and bottom lane tower not falling is 2 dragon favor to Dare Gaming with Mountain on the rise.
Supernova tried to make that play bot, and that messed up the timing for the dragon, and I'm okay with that if they managed to get the turret. But they didn't, so they end up losing on that. It's low, but can they set up that particular play again? It took Herald the last time, and Beko, oh, actually Ariando having to flash his survival there. Beko, he's down in terms of levels and still hasn't caught back up. I don't see that changing anytime soon if he can't find a good gank somewhere.
And I will grant, it's very difficult. It's not even like purely one person stall, right? It's not like you aren't trying. Though, spotted out, does have flash, is going to try and jump away. Great combinations to stay alive. Make sure, survive that. That could have gone very, very wrong. Great heads up there.
Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about, right? It took Herald last time. They brought Ariando. They're trying to get a numbers advantage, but look at BMFX just clearing out this wave like it's absolutely nothing. The Mega Inferno Bomb is available as well. Should they be pushed to it? We saw it being used to clear waves just a minute ago here. So Supernova, they expend a lot of resources, once more frustrated, finding nothing on the way out.
And would you... I don't want to call it too early, right? I really don't want to say that this is their mindset, that this is where they're currently kind of looking at. But to you, RMC, from what we've seen in the last, I want to say about 4 or 5 minutes, does this feel like Supernova maybe getting a little bit worried and trying to push the pace of the game a little bit faster than maybe they're even willing to?
Perhaps. I applaud that they're trying to make these plays happen. I think perhaps they just need to reevaluate where these plays need to occur. I almost rather see that bot lane move up to the mid lane instead. If, again, you can get an insect from Beko, if you get a kill there, I think you can get a lot more out of that. Or even look at the top lane. When you're a jungler and you're behind, play to your winning lanes. Fire Theft is still winning up top. Granted, it's not as dominant as it was earlier, but he can still win. And even if you don't necessarily get the kill onto Censored, forcing Censored off the turret is a win in and of itself.
So much pressure being applied in every facet of these lanes, and it's the spear, right? Supernova trying to pierce a shield, the passive, the conservative play of Dare Gaming, and it's not working at this point. Dare have played an immaculate defense, been able to even farm up fairly well, even though it looks terrible, right, for how much pressure has been laid down in the top and bot. Having a CS discrepancy of that length and still not dying, I give huge credit to. Supernova now going to go for the second Rift Herald. The first one only got 2 plates. This one they're hoping to use to break open a tower somewhere.
Yeah, and Dare Gaming are trying to contest this here. We've not really seen too many contests just yet, but Supernova, they're calling everybody in.
Yeah, TP early on, but a late TP on the other side means this is a 4v5 for a little bit. Laser goes across the side, and this is going to be a dash in. Censored is going to get bound up, is going to get rooted, and because nothing has happened for a majority of the game, everyone is allowed out. These flashes are used, no heals used, of course, from that Psycho. But still, that is going to be the Rift Herald granted to Fire Theft.
Yeah, and that's super important that Supernova managed to secure that. I got a little worried. Unfortunately, they removed the announcement on who gets it from Spectator a while ago, so I was trying to squint and see where it went there. Yes, Supernova get it. But here's the thing with Dare and Ziggs. We said it last game as well. Ziggs, great turret takers here, and even if you get the Herald, if you all have to back off the turret like that, then BMFX gets to do a ton of damage. Ariandel forcing off BMFX this time. But if BMFX gets another 30 seconds or a minute with that turret alone, it's gone.
I wouldn't even say that, right? At level 9 or close to level 10, a majority share of it is I think your passive can easily break down the rest of that tower, right? All you need is to bring it down to, I think, about 25, and you're good to go. So not just 30 seconds. It's now down to about 15, right? Supernova know this very, very well. They played it last time, and they got a huge cold lead off of this very fact. So they know the dangers of this Ziggs and are playing well into it. Dragon coming up in about 25 seconds with no towers down and no major kills. And I want to say the last 8 minutes or so, this is going to be one of the fatter checks of the game between these two teams.
Yeah, and if we're looking at a full 5v5 here already, we got a taste of it around that Herald. Never mind.
Ariandel being able to flash away is going to try and turn the tides, is able to make it happen. Enigma is going to fall. Becco able to get away with that kill. And with Vel'Koz down, actually, this becomes a very doable Dragon for Supernova.
Yeah, the flash away from Becco from the Mega Inferno Bomb, but they're very, very healthy. And Censor's looking to try and threaten, but look who's in the pit. Fire Theft, Becco, tanky members, people who can soak some damage.
And they're actually willing to try and take the fight. That's going to be the dominance being brought out. Crescent Guard used the body block. A little bit of damage. They go in. On the flip side, they are going to find the kill on Ariandel. Dragon's still down to about 15, and that's going to be the take. Becco is able to hang on to it, but still loses their life. So Dragon taken away.
Oh, no.
Dragon. Oh, no. Limo stepped on a trap and almost broke his back. So that is Limo surviving here. Supernova, though, little bit of a forced Dragon there, even though it looked great for them, and I'm even surprised I'm saying that.
Yeah, because that was a 4v5. Enigma was dead, doesn't have teleport, so no way for Enigma to get there. And that's troubling to me, because like I said, we saw a foretaste of it at the Herald, where their gaming found kills. Their poke is not something that Supernova can answer. Yes, you've got a light binding, but they have Vel'Koz and Ziggs to outpoke you in those fights. And Ariandel, really good knowledge to know that, okay, I can turn on this and I can win this. But now Ariandel's low, and then they're going for this Dragon, and look what happens here. They don't have enough damage to burst down Dragon. They're tanking everything. The poke comes out, and the moment anybody steps up who's squishy, they turn.
Very, very solid job. And then right here, this one, it was so close. And Becco, of course, still being able to secure it with that Hextech ultimate going down, lost the life, paid the price. But it feels like that 50-50 should never have even occurred at that point. It felt like Supernova should have had it in the bag, and yet it was still that close. Dare Gaming showing that even if they lose a member, they're still willing to take some of these fights if they still feel in control.
Orbital, they get the Dragon, and we have to applaud them for that, but it feels like they're just delaying at this point. Psycho and Pseudo, or more Psycho than Pseudo at this point, is starting to feel like they're falling off. The Caitlyn damage isn't really there, and we're out of lane. Lost.
Yeah, Blossom gets kicked back, is going to go into the stopwatch, and another fight breaking out here in the jungle. Teleports are being used. Lino having to jump to the closest opponent. It's going to be the bomb landing on all fours, so a decent amount of damage, and now they're going to be able to turn it around. Fire that trying to sit in the center is able to board Drinker up a bit more. The kill still comes through. The sacrifice from Fire Theft to make sure only one person died here right now. They're dashing in a little bit. Ariandel stepping up a bit too close. Kicked back or knocked back by the Crescent Guard. And Limo with the hard engage is going to run it back out of nowhere. We have an ace! Out of nowhere off of a top lane engage that Supernova had to pull out to try and save Becco. We see a triple kill for Censored and an ace for Dare Gaming.
Orbital, we aren't at 30 minutes yet. Dare isn't supposed to be turning on composition. Well, they shouldn't be turning on as a team, but they are starting to do it, and that's the zoning. That's the zone control. They walk into that tight corridor, and it looks good for them, but keep in mind, the Mega Inferno Bomb didn't come down immediately. The moment they didn't kill Blossoms and Blossoms flashed out, they needed to disengage. Now they're all on a choke point. Mega Inferno Bomb comes through. You throw some bombs out, and everybody gets on there.
This is phenomenal, and huge props to Fire Theft. Lived way longer than I expected, right? Was able to stay alive thanks to the itemization and great play there. This chase, though, huge props to Limo. I said I wanted to see Limos pop off. Limos did.
Yeah, always really good at finding those sort of picks, the engages as well. And it kind of disgusts me a little bit that Limo survived the engage point blank running into everybody. But that's what happens, right? Psycho on this Caitlyn, like we said, no damage. Pseudo on the Lux. you're a burst champion. Cooldowns were not up and available to be able to burst Limo down, and that's your backline just getting ripped to shred by sustained tanks coming through. And for Supernova, the time for their proactivity feels like it might be over. They're now relying onto picks here. We've still not seen Beko get a really solid insect to full safety here. We've not seen the Realm Warps from Ariandel set up these big ambushes, these gank squads. And for Dare Gaming, they can just set up at whatever objective they want. Dragon in a minute, they just walk there, sit there, poke you down. Baron is live. They could go contest at any time they want to once they shove lanes out. Dare Gaming, the Rift is theirs to do with as they wish.
And I think the damage chart speaks volumes, right? For Dare Gaming to not only own 3 of the top spots in terms of total damage this game, but to force Ariandel down to just above Blossoms. That is something to say. However, we are going to see another fight. Censored is going to go in. Hextech ultimate being used, but the laser going across the side, and it is going to be trade of 1-for-1. Everyone else is able to get out alive. It is the jungler down. Looks like a Baron threat isn't going to be because Dragon is going to be up in 10 seconds.
Yep, and they can just turn for that here. Censored going down is an issue. Granted, there's no TP to back up, but...
This is going to be a little bit chancy here. Ariandel now sitting on the top side. Be able to take this tower, and it's going to be a very, very small consolation prize. Because Dragon, now, right? You are on soul point, and this is what we are also talking about. The fact that having that extra shield is going to allow you to kind of soldier through anything that Psycho, the Lux, a Pseudo, Psycho, Ariandel, or even Fire Theft, I would say, can really hard throw at you. That extra safety net is going to provide Dare Gaming the ability to dare further and try and jump into some of these fights.
Yeah, it's so brutal to watch. And Soul Point, you know, Baron's up. I just want to see Dare go for Baron at this point, because you don't even have to take the Baron. You just have to force Supernova to it, and you can just constantly find picks over and over and over again. But step one, get the vision down. Right now, Supernova set up a great net of vision around the Baron to catch any movements there. Problem is, they can't defend it. Bot lane just got pushed out by Sensor as well. So, Dare Gaming literally have nothing else to really look at this point in the game, unless you want to try sieging turrets, which, hey, that's doable too. I just think it's a little harder than just straight out threatening Baron.
Well, they can threaten Baron. The problem is there is no threat. They will do it or not, because that Pink Ward did not catch the outside ward that Supernova have placed. That is going to be a well-known thought, and because of that, because no one's on it, Supernova say, well, let's go ahead and try and chase down this one player. No bounty on Censored's head. Teleport is going to be used. Oh, they found it. That should be Censored falling here.
Oh,
now
no.
The question is, how long can the chase go? Because the rest of the team is doing Baron. Censored is going to go ahead and knock in a few punches.
Why so much time?
Pretty strong, and Ariandel gets the fight, but look, Baron is already going double teleport to try and get a little bit closer, and honestly, I think they got to it. This is only at 6k, and Gaming have to pull off. Remember, they don't have a real ADC to work with here, and that Baron is going to only slowly take him down.
Yeah, good attempt there from Dare, but they just don't have the sustained damage, and they're being punished for it a little bit. Censored even blowing the teleport, so it's not like you got a global or summoner advantage to go back to that Baron once again. Now, Supernova, they get the turret. They've brought the gold a little bit closer. It's only about 2.5 difference now, but frankly, Orbital, I said last game that gold doesn't matter because of the Jinx, and this game I'm going to say gold doesn't matter because Supernova still haven't answered or solved the question of how do we get in range to fight Dare Gaming.
The way you do that is you make sure your ward is not spotted and you know exactly what Dare are going to do. Fire Theft, ready to go off on the side. And remember, Dare Gaming have no idea. The problem is Supernova a little bit slow on the rotate. Dominus has been used. Knockup is going to be there. That's going to be acing the whole fire and into the laser.
Oh,
BMFX wasn't able to get out. He wasn't able to get away, and Fire Theft making the kill happen. Might lose his life for it, but now the fight breaks out. Limo able to stay away. And once again, Baron is sorted. Hook though lands, throwing glacial augments everywhere. You lose a few members. Supernova stopping Baron for a second time.
They lost BMFX right out the gates, and they're still able to repel it. That's pretty disgusting, but Supernova, they have the inside track on the turrets right now. They're going to take one Censored, looking into their backlines here, trying to find anybody if they overextend. Supernova wisely backing off here. They don't want to stick around. And for Dare Gaming, they've tried a couple of times now. It hasn't quite worked up. Dragon's coming up in 1.5 minutes. Maybe time to switch sort of focuses here. Go for that Dragon. It's an easier take. You get the soul. You're a little bit tankier. And then maybe next time you get a better shot in that fight.
I also feel like Dare Gaming maybe with the accelerated pace. Okay, well,
They're
third
back
time's
to
a
it
charm.
again.
Third time's a charm, by the way. I was about to say something about Baron takes, but this time they have all 5 members in there. 5k in, and the laser comes out, doesn't do as much as you want, but now they're going to turn it. It was so low, but Dare Gaming saying, sure, let's go for it. But down goes the Thresh. Yes, they get Ari and Dell. What more can they get? Laser going across everyone and fire that straight to the back line, but immediately shut down. And this time, Dare make it happen. Quite literally, just try again until you make it. Supernova at 26.5 minutes are handed their second.
They're still going back to Baron here by hook or by crook. Damn it, they want it here. They're not going to keep pushing without it. Dragon's going to come up as well, and you know what? They'll probably have to forfeit the Dragon's a little bit risky to do that. I'm not sure if they can get back position, but that's why I was calling for this Baron pressure earlier. You can see that you just keep fishing, right? Supernova has to check every single time, and we said Dare should win on neutral ground, on open ground. They have the better poke, and that time, clean ace and Baron. That's just icing on the cake. Ooh, TP, I like this. They're going to rush this Dragon here as well.
No.
And they can't take it, I don't think, fast enough, but they can stall long enough, and once everybody's there, it's like the Baron dance all over again, except Dragon's a lot squishier.
The worst part is I think, okay, now we see it, but almost snuck in a Vel'Koz, which that is going to be the realm where they use it on 3, and if we pan up and take a look, they're going to take a chance, but the rebuttal is so much stronger. Fire that straight into the back line. Sensor ready to go. He is going to solo out this Renekton. The chunks are real. Fire that's just being turned into a handbag here as Censored is on a rampage. Another kill going through, and you said it, right? Maybe not enough time to burn through it, but when it's a 4v5, you don't have to worry about burning it. You're allowed to leisurely take it.
And now Supernova have lost their tank. Beko is not that tanky with just the Gore Drinker and the plated steel caps. That's not going to help you against this poke. So Dare Gaming, they can just siege right up. I don't even think they needed to wait for Limo here. They can just go in. And Supernova, the wave clear is so dangerous. Ariandel is kind of short range. You've got to step up and cycle right now with the Phantom Dancer. Lord Domic's Regard with the Immortal Shield Bow, I don't think is going to be able to clear these waves fast enough.
Not at all, and that's the unfortunate punishment for this game, right? Dare Gaming, they have slowly and meticulously built up an immaculate lead that I feel deserves credit, right? They are slowly pushing themselves into a potential 2-0 with a spread of 2-1 and 2 with Blossoms fluctuating in between. It feels like maybe they could have just forced all 5 in one location, but they're going to take it slow. Nemo carrying 2 cannon minions here onto the spot side, and finally they are rotating Censored. Censored wants it maybe, but the binding is going to call different. Limo goes in. Remember, Limo's on this war. Very nice Mega Inferno Bomb to latch onto 3. The damage is enough, right? No kills, but enough to get the inhibitor.
Yeah, and now they can just rotate to mid, rinse and repeat here. Yes, Baron buff is almost out, 30 seconds left, but they don't need the Baron buff with the lead that they have right now. You can see how big a threat exactly they are to this. And keep in mind, although we said it was a 3-2 split, it's not really a 3-2 split. By having BMFX not with them, it's effectively a 2 and a 3.5 split, because that Mega Inferno Bomb could have come down at any time there, and the burst, the upfront burst is enough to dissuade a lot of these engagements.
The thought of this bomb crashing down around your head, especially not with the Leandries, right? This is Ludens. This is pure power coming in from the Ziggs, especially with the Rabadons coming in right afterwards. Just, again, BMFX, and I love this. We didn't get it pointed out before because, of course, we were talking about the cleanse and everything like that. BMFX is go hard or go home, and I absolutely love it. And seeing it here, sorry, that was a Vel'Koz. I'm so sorry. Either way, both sides are doing it. There is no defensive augmentation to the builds here. Dare Gaming are all in with saying, we know we have the lead. We know we have every source of damage that we need. We're going to keep running with it.
Well, also, if BMFX and Enigma have been reached, they're dead anyways, right? So it's straight damage makes sense. They're trusting on everybody else to kill once again for them here. If you're talking about go hard or go home, I'm looking at Censored right now. Quietly has become an absolute monster. We've said Censored doesn't usually play for himself here. Well, this game, he's so far ahead, he gets to run everybody out 2 levels up on Firefly.
Well, that's going to be the catch. A nice knockup into the burn. Disintegration almost real. Censored wants a bit more of it, but Fire Theft lives with only about 100 HP left. That's supposed to be your tank. That's your 2.5 item tank. One of the stronger members in Censored, ready to go for round number 2. Inhibitor tower goes down, Inhibitor as well. Hook lands, but no glitch to augment, so they're just gonna go for the raw damage. Pseudo has to walk away as quickly as possible with no disintegration rate there though. Lux allowed to live once again. 2 inhibitors down, 1 remains with Baron in a minute and a half.
Super is pushing in the bot side here. This is a double super wave. I think they're getting a little greedy here looking at these Nexus turrets. You can play it slow, you can play it methodical. There's only 1 inhib left here, but they're going fishing.
Oh, they found it, and Becco immediately goes into the golden array, but Crescent Guard is able to keep Limo away. Censored actually walked in, and that could have been a little bit more dangerous, but again, remember, their gold lead is insane right now. They're allowed to take these risks. They're allowed to play with fire over and over again. Yes, maybe they overextended with the wave. They are okay with it. Now, moving towards that top side, you rinse and repeat.
Orbital, I think they have been playing with fire over and over again. Fire Theft is 2-5-1. He's died 5 times here. It's kind of rough. And finally, they just rotate to that last turret here. That's what they should be doing. They've got pressure in other lanes. And once again, Siege sets up. If they, give up on this wave, Baron's up in 30 seconds.
Oh, and that tower just took a huge chunk. BMFX is ready to go. Laser comes out and almost burns down Becco. With the shield is going to survive, but Pseudo is going to fall. So does Ariandel earlier on. And I think that might be the straw that broke the camel's back here with 2 down for 35 and 40 seconds. Supernova on their last leg with no dominance and Fire Theft's back. This feels like it is going to be over. A second teleport just to get Enigma healthy. Becco went for it. Becco can't find it. The kick knocks up 4, but it only delays the inevitable. Another knockup from Enigma. The Vel'Koz taking it home. Psycho forced into the fountain to watch as the base crumbles. Dare Gaming will go ahead and complete the 2-0 over Supernova.
Orbital, the Cinderella run ain't over yet. Not only did they go 4-1 in the OQs here in the group of life, Dare has made it to the upper bracket where they will be facing off against the Kings of Collegiate there, Winthrop. And I thought I might have casted cursed it when I said it earlier, but AoE and Supernova have themselves yet another date. The first one for 2022.
Yeah, and the worst feeling as well. The worst feeling in the world is the fact that this isn't to play for that first seed, right? This is to play for your qualifier life here, because whoever loses that match will be knocked out. That is their last chance to get that second seed. That is something that I don't think either of those teams was actually expecting here in this group.
Yeah, and any group that is a group of life is also kind of a group of death, right? Like, nobody's guaranteed safety anywhere here. And for both these teams, you know what? At least for the orgs, they're not strangers to playing for their life. They've been in that situation before. For the players, maybe it's something new, but better you experience it early rather than later. Now, I do want to talk about our winners of this game a little bit, Dare, because teams need to start taking note of them. I know that they were already on some people's radar after making what people were calling a miracle run or a Cinderella run in the OQs, but they're no longer just a Jinx one trick here. BMFX is showing, on the Ziggs, it's really solid. And Enigma, that wasn't a name that we said too much of during the game, but Enigma is quietly pumping out the damage in all these team fights. Actually higher KP than BMFX there in that game. And this Vel'Koz pocket pick, teams have to be aware of it here. If you're going to pick something like a Rise, something that can't deal with the range of that Vel'Koz, then I think you need to start, looking to ban that out before you start blind picking those champions.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how Dare themselves feel about it, because we are going to get an interview with this squad. 20th seed who is very aptly named here. So we are going to go to a very quick break and be right back with the analyst desk here to get an insight how Dare felt. Please don't go anywhere.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on back to the Unified Proving Ground Circuit. We just got done watching the 2-0 from Dare Gaming against Supernova, and I gotta say, man, they're gaming. They're putting on statements. They're able to take down the heart of amateur from previous proving grounds. So this is a big step forward for them.
I am officially a member of the Limo fan club after that game. He had a great game on the Xin Zhao. Those team fights were stellar. The first blood gank was stellar. I'm rooting for this young player, man. I'm getting excited for new NA talent, boys.
I'm in love with it, man. And hey, listen, if you don't know who Limo is after this game, you better have him on your radar. This is a phenomenal game on the Xin Zhao for him to show some nice clips, some nice mechanical prowess, and you love to see it. Like you said, new talent coming in. Always great to see. Prussian, I want to go ahead and go over to you because we went through the draft here, and you and me both were singing in a choir together. We were in unison when we saw the draft come out, and we were like, yo, what is Supernova going to be able to do to catch out the Ziggs and then the Vel'Koz at the end?
Yeah, so as a Vel'Koz player formerly, I was a Challenger Vel'Koz player at one point. That champion is so bad right now. It's so crazy horrible. It is really bad. But because they locked in Rise on Blue 5 for Supernova, all of Supernova's composition was really close range other than the Caitlyn and the Lux, and both those champions were really immobile, and that just lets Vel'Koz completely saw through all of Supernova because they have no way to either avoid the Vel'Koz abilities, they have no way to get onto the Vel'Koz and kill him. I mean, that champion, it doesn't work very often, but in that situation, it was a very, very good thing.
Yeah, and what do you need to make Vel'Koz work outside of close range opponents? A front line that is ahead. Now, I believe we have a replay of what exactly did just that here, where we get to see Limo take this first blood up in this top lane alongside the top laner, and we get a nice little camera angle here. All right, boys.
I love this. Look at this.
Wow.
This is
Big production value. Shout out Unified.
Yeah, absolutely. That was great, dude. I love you get to see the death animation up close, man. Cinematic. League of Legends movie win. But I mean, we were talking about that too. That was off of what was a big error too from Fire. That overstepped a bit. Knew that Limo was there in that area. Recently had just spotted him, and Limo staying around inside the area, smelled blood inside the water, was able to make the most out of that scenario.
Yeah, and Censored was really low HP by the end of that as well. So just dancing on a nice edge. Really like the mechanics popping off there from both of these guys. And like I was saying before, it really does help when you have the double mage of the Vel'Koz and the Ziggs to have a front line that is a bit ahead, because it just makes them all the more tanky.
Yeah, and another player I really want to pay attention to or call out is Blossoms, because I actually thought Blossoms played both of these games extremely well. So the Rakan in game one, sure it wasn't like amazing 100% of the time, but he did escape the first Baron with the Baron, and that was actually critical to stalling the game out for Dare. And then game two, I mean, I literally said it during the game, like, man, these hooks just are absurd, like the way they're hitting.
Yeah.
Like, just pick after pick just sets up for Ziggs and Vel'Koz to just completely get these massive chunks. Even if they don't kill them, they might burn flash, or they might just chip them enough that setting up the objective is that much easier. Blossoms played very well, and he had a very good understanding of when he had to play Lantern too, which is something that I don't always see from Thresh players.
It was beautiful, honestly. It was a work of art, and you were like highlighting it. We had over on the top side, you got to see Censored have almost 100% KP until the very end of the game. Lost out on one kill to be able to have that 100%. Another player to really highlight inside of this, I feel like, is definitely the pairing in that bot lane. BFMX was phenomenal, right? Like, we saw him actually escape some tower dive situations, turn around some plays, and was really self-sufficient even without the Thresh there in scenarios. It was really well done, and you definitely look at this Dare squad and you say all across the table, man, very impressive from them. Got to showcase some of those nice young mechanics that they have developed.
Two things are for certain. One is that these guys are not to be messed with. They are definitely here for good reason. They deserve the hype. They deserve the wins. The second thing is that they really, really like the Baron Nashor pick. They really like setting up shop over there and fighting to the death around it. We've got a few replays here to show exactly that. This one's setting up even before the Baron has even spawned. We get to see Baco just really out of position.
Definitely not Baco's game this game, is what I'll say.
Yeah, not out of position. And look at this, immediate responses coming in. And this is where we got to see a little bit of a mishap in communication as well as a clip of the highlight reel.
The Realm Warp was available to get everyone to safety, but not everyone was on the same page with that one. And then here with the re-engaged Supernova, it's like, all right, wait, Limo is out of position. We can kill him. Oh, he has Gore Drinker and Xin Zhao and shields. Oh no.
Limo doing an insect play on Xin Zhao. Love it. You love to see it, man. I also love the fact they have the synergy of the emotes there, by the way. Just a nice little thing to add on to layer into it. But,
teamwork.
Teamwork, yes. It's very important when it comes down to your emotes. But, I mean, it just felt like Dare really, they had a good draft. They had a good plan. They understood strengths that they had when they got to see what they were faced up against from Supernova. And I mean, this young squad, I mean, I want to reiterate, coming out of open qualifiers, 4-1, a lower seeded team. Every single match they had was against a top 16 team inside of the open qualifier. They made it out with a 4-1 record. And this is exactly why. Every bit of competition they had to fight, they're the only team that had every team they fought qualified out of the open qualifier. It's insane, and this Dare Gaming squad is something to highlight. But we do have another replay coming at you, getting us into where things got more secured for the side of Dare Gaming here. As we
More Baron,
say that
yeah,
more Baron.
Nice.
Here it is.
Oh man, this element of faith.
I'm sorry.
What's going on, Prussian? Tell it to him.
Blossoms gets a crazy hook, just completely snaps on Ariendo, and after that, I mean, it's just a cleanup from Enigma with a massive Vel'Koz ult, and Censored is all over this fight, defends the Vel'Koz, and then hunts down the Caitlyn with Limo, and just really puts him in the dirt. I mean, just really good team fighting, and it was great of Blossoms to set it up like that too.
Yeah. It doesn't tell the full story of the how many times Dare actually tried to get another fighter on this Baron. They had attempted like 3 other times before this just to get them, a little bit closer to the home field advantage that is the Darren Baron pit. That's what I'm going to call it from now on.
I like that.
And,
I like it. Coin it. Yeah, absolutely.
I just love that they know their territory and they know it well.
Purple's their favorite color, apparently, man, and it was great. And hey, look, they tore it apart. They every team now is going to be looking at Baron like, are they doing it? That's going to be the scariest thing on the back of every team's minds. I do want to go ahead. We've talked a lot about the ups that Dare did have inside of that. I do want to touch on a couple things that we did talk about, especially with Supernova. They had a bit of an interesting situation too for themselves. Game 1, we saw them kind of do this slow, proactive way of playing the mid game. This didn't happen, and they had some struggles, especially with them not having the itemization they could possibly need on their Caitlyn. It felt like they had a lot of mistakes that came into this second game that we weren't really expecting.
Yeah, for Psycho, I just feel like he itemized super defensively in a position where they're first picking this Caitlyn. It is a really powerful champion on the patch. It does so much for you in the zone control and DPS. To switch over to a shield bow build with a Phantom Dancer as well, I just feel like he wasn't fully optimizing what this champion's actually capable of. You strap a Gale Force on this champion and a rapid fire cannon so you can compete with the range of advantage that Ziggs and Vel'Koz get. At least, some of those auto attacks are actually going to land from a long distance away. I think it would have worked a lot better in their favor. And for Psycho, that's just something he's going to have to think about next time when he is looking at those items. Yes, the shield bow does keep him alive, but it's not really about keeping yourself alive in a lot of those situations. For the Gale Force and the Rapid Fire Cannon, you do need to pump out some damage. It is a majority of what your champion's going to do on this team.
I agree, and not only that, for that matter, I'm not really sure that shield bow really kept him alive in a lot of situations either.
That's true.
I mean, the shield just isn't very large anymore, and the lifesteal, I mean, if you're getting poked out from Vel'Koz and Ziggs 9 times out of 10, you're probably just going to die right away. So I definitely agree that Gale Force was probably much better in this situation.
Yeah, I think that's just the name of the game, right? We look at everything that happened inside of it, and a couple itemization errors, a couple oversteps from Supernova, and like I said, it felt a little bit more uncharacteristic, especially when you compare Game 1 to Game 2, where they were looking for more calculated ways. We do have our end game stats coming at you here, and you can see exactly the goal graph. A lot different this time. Dare stayed in steady control over the entire course of the game almost.
No comeback needed this time, just all things Dare the entire way through. And this is why everyone is hyping this team up a lot. They had a really solid game record in the OQ, keeping that alive. Undefeated so far in the main event, guys. The only game they've lost so far is to Golden Guardians Academy. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good stat for this team. I'm really excited for these guys.
Yeah, it's a great record here, and yeah, we do still have our interview ahead of us. We are going to throw it over to a short break here in a moment. But I do want to go ahead and give a shout out to our fantastic guest of Prussian. He came in here with a little bit of a menacing aura, had the LaCroix ready, didn't have to throw it across the room this time. But
Don't tempt it,
Don't
man.
tempt me. Don't tempt me.
But thank you so much. It's always appreciated. Always love your company, and thank you so much for coming in and giving us all your expertise and knowledge. If you guys don't know him, make sure you check him out on Twitter. He posts up some good stuff over there, and make sure to follow him. He puts out some fantastic stuff, and his game knowledge is top tier. So make sure you keep a lookout on him. And like I said, the at's right there. It's at Prussian Lol. And yet again, thank you, Prussian. But that being
Thanks for having
said, anytime. Thank you for coming in. We will be taking a short break. When we come back, we're going to have an interview coming up with the side of Dare. So make sure you don't touch that browser. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And hey, look, when I said we had an interview, prepare for trouble, make it double. I got Enigma and Blossoms here ready to get us into it. And let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to start with Enigma. We're going to go left to right here. You guys are the young talent, the new kids on the block here. And 20th seed, by the way, coming in here hot, ready. Get your first dub as soon as you guys get out of the open qualifier. How's it feeling for you, Enigma?
Feels really good. Like, I feel we've been the underdogs for all the OQs and now even. So it feels good to be winning those games and proving some people wrong.
Hey, look, that's the way to do it. And Blossoms, I gotta go ahead and give it up, man. I want to be real quick. You got a lot of fans at this point in time, especially after that Thresh game. You were landing hooks left and right there.
Only in the late game. I don't think I did much for like the first 15 minutes. I was just kind of helping. I was kind of just roaming around the map, walking around the map, helping my laner stabilize.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And sorry, the VMID's call looks like it crashed on me. We were talking about the concerns that we were having on VMID's call crashing on everybody else there, but it decided it wanted to crash on me this time around. But
unlucky.
Yeah, unlike, look, man, we jinxed it a little bit there, but yeah, I think you definitely got yourself some fans. Enigma, you had brought out the Vel'Koz in the last game there, and we were looking at it. Prussian said, you know, I used to play it. He thought like he was a redeemed person now that he's not a Vel'Koz main. How are you feeling when you looked at that comp and you were like, yeah, this is lined up for some a simulation here?
Yeah, no, for sure. We cannot always pull him, but feels good when we have, especially the Ziggs. We just outrange them and they don't have anything to reach us, so it's just kind of free damage and free safety. And yeah, feels good to be able to pull him out.
Now, big important question here. Either one of the two of you can answer this one. You can answer it at the same time if you want. What was censored over in the top side, he had 100% KP until you guys didn't let him get that one last kill at the very end. Was Was there any upset? Was he upset at all about this, or did he not? Did nobody even notice?
He was upset. When we were destroying the Nexus, he's like, guys, my KP, no!
Did he for real? Yeah, okay. I didn't
Like, it's not every day where a top laner gets to have 100% KP, right? Like,
For
that's
sure.
a very impressive stat.
Play for top. Play for
Nice,
jungle.
liked it. Yep.
It's a very interesting thing too, because you guys have this very interesting dynamic. You guys have this camaraderie and whatnot going in here, and you can really feel it from everything from you guys having the same emotes all together. We noticed that on the Ace, the emotes flaring up at the same time. Limo getting these nice insect plays for you guys. You guys look really uniform as a team, but I've heard through the grapevine, you guys have only been practicing together for a week. Is that true?
Yep.
Yeah. We finalized the roster like the night that PG applications were due.
Yeah.
And before that, I only scrimmed the team for like 3 days or something like that. Not even a week.
NA talent coming in hot, man. That's what I like to hear. But look, hey, I right now, I've already said it earlier on Inside the Desk. I'm keeping my word to it. If you guys get out of groups, right? I'm making my Twitter account a Dare Stan account. Like, we will have it. We will have the flag. So I want to see you guys get out of groups. I want to see you guys crush. I want to see the storyline continue to develop. And you guys blazing a trail out here.
That's our ambition for sure, to continue our path and not lose a game against Academy, against amateur people still.
I like it, man. Well, if that being said, Enigma, we're going to start off with you here. What if you had anything to say to anybody who's been cheering you on, or all the people who are now finding out who you are? What you got to say to them?
I mean, thank you a lot for following me. Big shout out for the QC people. We're not a lot on the scene, so it's always fun to have them cheering on each other. And yeah, thank you a lot.
Blossoms, how about you? You definitely got a few fans after game number 2, man. I'm being real.
I appreciate all the hype and support I've been getting from my fans that just appeared. I hope I can keep smurfing it in amateur and maybe continue to do great things here and smurf it with this Dare roster that was put together at the last minute.
Yeah, look, I'm in love with it. I'm looking forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go, I'm going to go ahead and say, go to twitter.com. Follow these gentlemen right here, right? Go to Enigma QC at 99, that you be able to follow him, and then over on the other side, at Blossoms Lil, go follow them, support them, give them all the love that they absolutely deserve. With that being said, thank you, gentlemen, for coming in for this interview, and man, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have, because right now, man, I'm feeling the sky's the limit.
Thank you a lot for having us, yeah, for sure.
Y'all make sure y'all take care. With that being said, that's it here for us on the Unified stream. Make sure you guys tune in on Monday, where we'll be able to have more Unified action here for the Proving Ground Circuit Qualifier. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Keep on watching as these stories continue to unfold. Take care and have a great night, everyone.
Take care.